In today's episode of the Pathfinder Presents podcast, I have an interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Pedro Góes, and he's sailing over as the CEO at InEvent. And they're in a very, very interesting space that obviously, specifically over the last couple of years, has been in a heavy growth in virtual and hybrid events space. So today we're going to deep dive with Pedro on a show. He's been here actually about 2 years ago on the Pathfinder Presents, where we actually just, all the COVID situation, everything was just starting. So we're curious to how has this evolved? How has the company been growing in that period? And how is thinking about growth today? So Pedro, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you, Lucas. It's a pleasure to be here again and share a little bit of our insights from InEvent, and then yeah, and be part of the show again. That's a pleasure. Yeah.
Very cool. So yeah, give us for the people who haven't heard about InEvent so far, maybe give them a quick rundown and a 360 overview. What is it all about?
So InEvent is going to be the platform that we use for all your upcoming live events. So any type of live interactions with your customers are going to be relying on InEvent. So it can be from a webinar that you're running on your company every week or so, or that can be a virtual show. So we have hosted from webinars that customers have daily with the live studio platform or with the InEvent virtual lobby, to very large upscale events, for 30,000 people. So you can do both on InEvent platform for all your live requirements.
Gotcha. And what would you say, which types of companies are currently, leveraging? Are those enterprise companies? Are those mid-sized companies, certain industries, or maybe give us an insight as to, what types of businesses benefit the most from InEvent?
Yeah, enterprise companies definitely benefit a lot from InEvent, because they have so many integrations they can use with our native integration platform. So the integration hub from InEvent allows you to connect so many solutions out of the box, such as HubSpot, Salesforce, Marketo, and much more. But we also have some very cool segments like associations, for example. We work with a lot of associations because they use the InEvent platform actually to deliver their certification accreditation credits. So they can do that on the platform very easily using the InEvent system. And that's a built-in solution of the system to just send certificates out for associations. So associations benefit a lot, education businesses and enterprise companies.
Yeah. Got you. And what would you say, who is the champion, right? Who is the champion within those companies? Who's saying, okay, we need InEvent. I'm bringing it into my company. Who would you say? What role is that? Is that like an event manager, marketing manager, operations? Who's bringing it in?
Yeah, marketing manager is a great person. Event manager, we really focus on the event managers today, and they have incredible power to make, create very creative experiences. So we really like to work with event managers on that sense, so they can deploy the organization with a new level of interactivity and live events. And more recently with the webinars, we also start to work with the IT managers. So the person that's deploying all the systems for the company also start to be a strong persona within InEvent. So we work with managers, marketeers, and also IT professionals. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So let's talk about in the last 2 years. Obviously, a lot of things have changed when it comes to by now it's even nearly 3 years in the event space. How has that sort of affected events sort of on a bird's eye perspective? Maybe you can give us sort of with the pandemic being at present, how has that changed? How does such thing change the trajectory of a company like yours? Just to give us maybe a bird's eye perspective first.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just want to work from home now. We have transitioned out of just being events as per se, virtual events. If you're only doing virtual events, they are, simple and don't have high production value. It's very hard for people to be engaged. So what we see right now is that we have so many new use cases that are so fun to watch. We have companies you are using for the future of work. So they can actually have all the employees that are working from home. They can actually have great onboarding experience. We have companies that are using for the InEvent platform for training. So they can actually train partners, train employees, train people on new policies and instruments. And then we have, the very large size events that are coming back. And then they're using the InEvent hybrid solutions to actually merge both experiences together. So they can have a broadcast with, high definition video at the same time that you have someone be onboarded from a different remote country, and you can do all of that in a single platform with the InEvent system. Yeah.
Very cool. So that's very interesting to see that the companies like yours actually start to really expand on use cases as, as you say, conditions are changing. Does that also change sort of or affect somehow the growth strategies? Sort of, how do people specifically for those new use cases, how do they discover an event? What would you say is their journey typically?
So the strategy that we developed is, let's put some free content out there and let people come and, if there is value for them. So the very first thing that we realized is that, we got funded, in the last 2 years, and we realized that we could actually use most of this capital to develop our content strategy. So we have been working with companies that actually we just create content, and the value is there for our customers. So they come to our events and they go and listen to our podcast, or they download one of our reports, or they search on Google one reference or guest blog post that we did. And then if they see value, they come to an event later and they say, look, I heard about you guys. I went to a trade show or so, really want to engage or see your product. And then from there, we move on to, maybe a subscription or a contract. So it's something of a strategy where we want to add value first for our customer, and then it comes back to us in the future. So that's our strategy.
Gotcha. So, with that heavy push on content, as you were describing, did the role of the website change, or how do you think about the role of the website as of today for InEvent?
So the website is very important. The website is where it's our HQ. Like when customers want to go and visit InEvent, they go to the InEvent platform. That's how we release our latest news, and that's where we have all the new upcoming products, new conferences, new events that we are hosting. So the InEvent, it's the place to be if you really want to know about InEvent. So we really update the website every week. We have news, we have new pages, we have new content being updated there frequently, so people can come back and visit us. And that's how we use the website for. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's switch gears a little bit. So, we did a quick recap of what you guys are doing, looked a little bit how things changed in terms of the use cases. Now, what has been requested heavily from the podcast listeners is to learn a little bit more about, the founders and their background itself. So what I'm curious to dive into is, right, you personally, have, a lot of hats, right? You have to solve a lot of different issues. You have to steer the company, bring them into its path. So I'm curious, how, and if so, do you still keep educating yourself? Do you sort of, read books, go podcast listening, go into communities, peers? What's your way to keep on educating yourself and, growing?
Yes, I think there are multiple ways. What I like to do personally is I have certain books that I read frequently, like books from certain writers or, certain people that I think are valuable to me. So I like to read from them. Their insights. I also like to see what people did in the past, and I really like to see how history shapes the future. I think is really well connected. Like things that are happening in the future usually already happened in the past. It's just changing, the names and the persons involved with a different thing. So I really like to study history and see like, hey, like this happened, and then how can we use this information to predict the future? So that's a relevant thing that I do frequently. Wikipedia is a great source of knowledge. It's some kind of data. I don't know who reads Wikipedia, but I'm often on Wikipedia learning about new topics. And I also use social media as a whole, like YouTube and all these contents, to learn from people that I follow there, that I know have trustful content and that can really share the right information. Yeah.
Very cool. In order to get to know you a little bit better, I have some rapid fire questions to, fire at you from the different angles. Are you ready for those?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, let's go.
Cool. What's the last book you read?
So the last book I read was Chaos with Monkeys, I think. It's a book from talking about an entrepreneur from Y Combinator. He was created a company in Silicon Valley, and he went to work on Facebook, and really details everything that went wrong with those things. So it's a fun book, yeah.
Okay. What is one single thing your company is focused on the most at the moment?
We really focus on the live studio, the InEvent live studio. That's our main product that we have worked on for the last 3 months. So live studio is so important for us. If you haven't checked it out, it's a very big innovation in the audio video space. It works by complementing 3 different solutions in one. So you can have all your production on the cloud live in real time. So it's very innovative that we're able to do that live because not a lot of companies can do it live, only on demand. Yeah.
Very cool. If there would be no boundaries in technology, what's the one thing you would fix for your role today?
I think social media as a whole, like it's broken. I feel like companies today, they produce a reality that's not really the reality. A lot of people, feel a little bit like I'm not happy with how things are going and everything, even though you could be happy just because you're looking at someone else on social media. And I think social media can be very pervasive, currently because there are no filters, especially for people that do not have a global vision of the world, how it works, and usually the different experiences. So I think social media would be something that I would fix if I could, adding different certifications, validations before we can just spread out content out there that's sometimes fake news or something. Yeah.
What's the last thing that kept you awake at night about your company?
Oh, growth always, like we need to recruit people, we need to new customers, we need to find new customers, we need to organize our gatherings, we need to so many new challenges, we need to drive innovation. So growth is always something that's on top of my mind, hitting numbers and keep growing. So that's the number one thing. Yeah.
Very cool. And the last question would be, right? I would like to do a little bit of time travel, right? And let's go even back to the days of Universidad de Sao Paulo, if you allow. So we go all the way back. Now, my question would be: you're heading out of formal education, right? And you had very interesting experiences, obviously, in building companies as an entrepreneur, and product manager. What's the one advice you would give yourself for your journey?
I think out of university, one thing that I knew was, the landscape is changing so much, and what I learned is really not that relevant anymore. I need to actually be always educating myself and always be fighting. I think the journey never ends. Until you die, every day is a day that you have to go there and fight and be able to rebuild and be able to be ready. So that's one thing that I learned through experience. I thought that I was going to work, very hard for 5 or 6 or 10 years, and I was going to be like leisure, the rest of my life just traveling. And that's not true. You actually have, it's every day is a fight, and every day you have to think about something new and keep fighting. It never ends. Yeah.
I really appreciate that insight into your journey, Pedro. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would forget all that we discussed today about InEvent, what's the one thing that they should take away and remember?
Yeah, InEvent's the future of the live streaming. So if you want to engage with us, go and check out the live studio. It's our new product out there. It's powerful. It's amazing. InEvent Live Studio. Yeah.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Python Presents.
Of course. Thank you.